Hey guys, how's it going? It's me from this channel, and today I'm going to tell you the story of Cinderella. This is episode 2 of our series, adapted by me from the original version by the Brothers Grimm. And as always, if you'd like to submit your own stories or art for consideration, you can find the instructions in the description box below. Also, if you're new here, don't forget to subscribe so you never miss an upload. Once upon a time, in a faraway land, lived a kind young girl named Cinderella. But not everyone treated her with kindness. You see, Cinderella's mother had passed away, and her father remarried a proud woman with 2 daughters of her own. They were as nasty as nails, and from the moment Cinderella's father brought them home, they treated her like a servant, making her cook, clean, and do their bidding. Cinderella didn't mind much, though she was a sweet girl and thought that being kind would make her stepsisters like her someday. Sadly, that never happened, and instead of kindness, she received scorn. She wasn't allowed to sit with them at the dinner table, but had to eat alone in the kitchen. Her stepsisters would sneer at her old-fashioned dresses, making fun of her worn-out shoes. Every night she slept in the attic, surrounded by mice and bugs. So Cinderella cleaned and cooked for her stepsisters by day, dreaming of a better life by night. Then, one morning, a letter arrived. It was an invitation to the most important event of the year, the grand royal ball held by the king and queen. Cinderella dreamed of going, but knew her stepsisters would never allow it. Still, she told them about her dream, hoping they might lend her one of their pretty dresses. But all she received were cruel laughs and snickers. Then her stepsisters left the house, eager to show off their beautiful gowns. All Cinderella could do was watch them go, wiping tears from her eyes. Her stepsisters returned hours later, their dresses covered in mud. "Look at you," said Drizella, still dreaming of going to the ball. "Oh, you silly goose," added Anastasia. "Why would we let you come along? You're nothing but a servant. Your place is here, scrubbing floors and polishing shoes." With that, they went upstairs to get ready for bed, leaving Cinderella alone in the kitchen. She was heartbroken, knowing she'd never get to attend the royal ball. But then she heard a gentle voice. "Why are you crying, my dear?" Startled, Cinderella turned around and saw an old woman with a magic wand. Though frightened, Cinderella explained about the ball and her stepsisters, how they wouldn't let her go and had ruined her only dress. "Don't worry, child," said the old woman. "I'll take you to the ball and make sure every girl there will be jealous of your beauty." Before Cinderella could reply, the old woman waved her magic wand, and suddenly the kitchen transformed into a magnificent palace. There, in the center, stood a beautiful white dress and a pair of sparkling glass slippers. "Oh, thank you!" cried Cinderella, rushing over to try them on. The dress fit perfectly and glittered like stars. She slipped on the glass slippers, and they were the most beautiful shoes she'd ever seen. Then the old woman approached her. "You look lovely, child, but you must know I'm only lending you this magic for one night. By midnight, the spell will be broken. And if you stay at the ball past that hour, the transformation will turn to stone. Cinderella nodded, taking the old woman's advice to heart. Then, hand in hand, they stepped outside. The old woman waved her magic wand, turning a nearby pumpkin into a golden carriage, mice into horses, and lizards into footmen. But Cinderella still felt uneasy about the short time she had before midnight. Seeing this, the old woman waved her magic wand again, changing into a beautiful fairy godmother. "Don't be sad, child," she said. "Tonight you will have the time of your life. All the handsome princes will want to marry you, and though the spell may wear off by midnight, that won't matter because you will have found your true love." With that, she gave Cinderella one last warning. "Be home before the clock strikes 12, or you will turn into a mouse, trapped forever in this house." Then the fairy godmother vanished, and Cinderella climbed into the carriage. But as the mice-turned horses pulled her along, Cinderella raced toward the palace where the royal ball was being held. Inside, hundreds of nobles and dignitaries had gathered. The prince sat on a nearby throne, looking bored until he saw Cinderella enter. He couldn't take his eyes off her. She was so beautiful in her sparkling gown, and he immediately forgot about his earlier boredom. As soon as the prince saw her, he rushed over and asked if he could escort her onto the dance floor. Cinderella agreed, and together they danced and talked for what seemed like hours. In fact, the entire royal court marveled at the beautiful couple, wondering who Cinderella was. But she kept that secret, knowing the fairy godmother's magic would soon wear off. Soon, though, the clock began to strike 8, and Cinderella remembered her warning. She thanked the prince for a wonderful evening and hurried out of the ballroom. The prince wanted to follow her, but she disappeared down a long hallway. In her haste, Cinderella lost one of her glass slippers. The prince picked it up, determined to find the mysterious girl who fit it. Meanwhile, Cinderella raced back to the carriage. The clock was striking 11 now, and she feared she'd be late. She barely made it in time because, as she shut the door, the magic began to fade. The beautiful gown turned into rags, the golden carriage into a pumpkin, and the mice and horses squeaked in terror as they scurried away. Only the glass slipper remained, sitting on the floor where it had fallen. The next morning, the prince awoke feeling sad. He thought about the mysterious girl he met at the ball, how beautiful she was, and how he never learned her name. Determined to find her, he called for his horse and set off through the kingdom. Wherever he went, he carried the glass slipper with him, searching for its owner. Soon word spread throughout the land that the prince was looking for a girl who fit the shoe. Many princesses came forward, eager to be chosen as the prince's bride. But no matter how hard they tried, the glass slipper wouldn't fit. Cinderella heard about the search, and though scared, knew the prince was looking for her. If she could only bring the right shoe to him, he would recognize her as the girl from the ball. But she knew her stepsisters would never let her leave the house, not after what had happened the night before. Cinderella sighed, wondering what to do. Maybe the fairy godmother could help. Surely she would understand. When Cinderella arrived at the old woman's hut, she explained about the prince and the glass slipper. "Oh, child, I understand," said the fairy godmother. "Your time has come, but you must hurry. The prince is looking for you." Taking Cinderella's hand, the fairy godmother led her to the nearby town, where they hid in an old tower. From there, Cinderella watched as the prince walked past. She called out to him, showing him the glass slipper. The prince looked up and smiled. He finally understood who she was, the beautiful girl from the ball. Reunited, they hurried to the palace. Cinderella was soon fitted for a new pair of glass slippers, which fit perfectly. The prince and Cinderella spent the day together, laughing and playing. He showed her around the palace, and she admitted she'd been too afraid to come forward before now. That they were reunited, she was happy to be honest. Then it was time for the prince to take Cinderella home. As they walked outside, though, he stopped. "Wait here," he said, "while I get my horse." But while he was gone, Cinderella's stepsisters arrived. They begged her to run away with them, promising to make her a real princess. Cinderella refused, though explaining that she was already engaged to the prince. Enraged, her stepsisters vowed revenge, plotting to kill her. Cinderella ran away, racing as fast as she could. She didn't dare look back to see if her stepsisters were following her. Then she heard a familiar voice. "What's all this commotion?" The prince had found her, and seeing how distressed she was, took her into his arms. He promised to protect her, then brought her back to the palace. Together, they defeated Cinderella's stepsisters, who were banished from the kingdom. In the end, Cinderella's kindness was rewarded. She married the prince and lived happily ever after. And that is the story of Cinderella, a reminder that kindness, patience, and hope can turn dreams into reality. Thank you for watching, everyone, and that's it for this episode. If you enjoyed our retelling of the classic tale, please leave us a like and a comment below letting us know what you thought. Once again, if you'd like to submit your own stories or art for consideration, you can find the instructions in the description box below. And if you haven't already, don't forget to subscribe so you never miss an upload. See you next time.